5 lights go out, we will be racing. And lights are out and we're underway. And looks like Bobby Dazzler's got a great start off the line. Already up into the lead. Luke Bennett's going to slot into the slipstream behind him into P2. So is he going to go for a move up the inside? No. Bobby Dazzler goes through P1 in the lead. Luke Bennett with a little bit of a clipping at the curb there as we go through turn 1. So Bobby Dazzler leads. Murphy's up into P2. Murphy gets through. So those two boys sharing the same livery. And no team orders there, it seems. Murphy is up into P2. Luke Bennett P3. Kembo, our American driver, P4. Then we've got K Morse. Looks like we're pretty much line astern here as they come down this long straight up towards the chicane. Let's see if Luke can go for a move up the inside of Murphy. He's going to have a look, but he's not close enough this time around. K Morse looking like he was thinking about a move there on Kembo. In the end, had to back out of that one. So Luke hassling the back here of Murphy. And Bobby Dazzler's absolutely pissed off the start. He's got a lead of 1.2 seconds now. So this is about whether or not Luke can get past Murphy quickly here. And is he going to go for a move up the inside? We're going to ride on board with Luke, and it looks like he's got the move. Let's ride on board with Murphy. Yep, Luke is definitely through. So the gap at the front, Luke's lost 1.2 seconds to Bobby Dazzler on the opening lap here. You can see that car in front of him. So he's going to be absolutely desperate to chase down that car of Bobby's here as we begin lap 2 into the first corner. Let's have a look back and see what's going on. We've got K Morse diving up the inside there of Kembo. And there you can see the green BMW of K Morse has made the move stick. Can Kembo fight back? Kembo obviously arriving in his home race here. He's had a couple of home races this season, our American driver. And definitely will have the support of the crowd here at Watkins Glen tonight. Lionsfoot also not too far away. Are any of these boys going to go for a move as they come into the chicane? Nope, we're line astern at the moment. Bit of a lock up there from Luke Bennett. He's pushing that car absolutely to the limit. As we see, oh, K Morse from a little bit of a moment, and Kembo back through. So our American driver in his home race definitely making amends for what happened there on the straight. And K Morse seems to be dropping back a little bit. He's coming under pressure now from Lionsfoot, our Welsh driver from Swansea, who's been excellent since he became an additional member to the Tier 1 of the RRTCC. Actually the highest scoring driver of the new guys to get promoted mid-season. So Lionsfoot definitely doing a fantastic job since he got promoted, proving why we made the decision to actually move him up to Tier 1. And he's got his lights on and covering the mirrors here of K Morse. Luke Bennett is up into P1.
Fuck's sake.
He's made the move on Bobby Dazzler.
Alright, Steve.
Slow down.
But is Bobby Dazzler going to try and come back at Luke Bennett as they come towards the chicane? Definitely in the slipstream. Has a little look up the inside. Luke covers it off. Goes to the door. Ken is now hassling the back of Murphy here for third place. And Murphy leaving the door wide open there as they come through that corner. Probably something to do with his line. But covering Ken off at the moment. Gap at the front, 0.4 of a second. So we're going to keep tabs on what's going on there between those guys. We actually missed the move for the lead that Luke Bennett made. Apologies for that on stream. We're going to stay with him as he comes over the line to complete the third lap. Last time around, Luke Bennett, class of the field, 0.6 of a second faster than Bobby Dazzler. Kembo also flying, also in the 1:12s. As Luke has a little bit of a wobble coming out of turn 1, and Bobby Dazzler's going to look to the outside. They're going to go wheel to wheel. One of them's going to have to back out. Luke just about holding it, but Bobby Dazzler definitely on the warpath here. He's back into the slipstream and he's going to have to go around the outside. Luke Bennett covers off the inside line. Luke Bennett holding on, keeping it within the track limits. Nice to see those boys keeping it clean. Back to our battle for P3. Murphy still with his mirrors full of our American driver. Meanwhile, our championship leader, Uni Clark, having an absolutely torrid evening, and it could be about to get even worse Is Smithy going to go for a move? Doesn't look like he's close enough, but Uniclark running very, very wide out of the second to last turn, and Smithy's going to look to get a lovely run out of the final corner. He's going to slot right into the slipstream of that Monster Energy livery car. We're hearing on a team radio there, Smithy saying he's struggling for top end speed and he can't get that car past him. It seems it's nicely set up through the corners, but on the straights the car's just losing out enormously as Uniclark has a little bit of a wobble, but Smithy can't capitalise. The track's too narrow in that part and you can't really get by. You can only really run single file as you go through that little kink in between the first and second corners. And Smithy, you can see he's got plenty of grip. It's just the speed. He just hasn't got the speed to get around him. Again, looking to the inside. Uniclark covers it off. So this could potentially be a very frustrating evening here. As we see Murphy's lost position to Kembo and possibly falling into the clutches of K Morse. K Morse in turn has got Tro pressurising him. Lionsfoot made a mistake somewhere. Lionsfoot's back into 7th position. This is a train of 4 cars here, and Smithy's going to go up the inside. Uniclark is going to make the move stick. Yes, he does. Smithy up the inside, up into P8. Grandad Stee also a little bit out of position. So our championship leader Uniclark is having a really struggling this evening. He leads the championship by 10 points, but for how much longer, we just don't know at this point. And Luke Bennett, Kenbo and Kenbo, the chasing pack technically, will be looking at this as a place where they can gain points. Bobby Dazzler's got back past Luke. Luke Bennett's made an error somewhere. Last lap we're seeing Luke went half a second quicker than Bobby Dazzler, so it must have been some kind of mistake at the beginning of this lap that's cost Luke P1. It's just hearing a team radio from Luke saying that was a slow down penalty. And obviously Kembo only 2 seconds down the road and possibly closing in on these two as they fight it out. So Kembo will know that the points are definitely there and up for grabs. He's not too far behind these two, the top 2 in the championship as it is. We're just over halfway in this race, 6 laps down, 4 laps to go. Got a train of 3, 4, 5 cars here from the battle for 4th position, which is being led currently by Lionsfoot. We're going to stick with our leaders here. Luke Bennett closing onto the back of Bobby once again. Definitely has a slipstream, definitely has a much quicker car coming down the straights.
Yeah.
Is he going to look to the inside of the chicane? Not quite close enough that time around from Luke, but he's definitely letting Bobby Dazzler know that he's there. He's all over his rear mirrors, all over him, trying to pressure him into some kind of mistake, and Luke got a lovely run.
Lost it.
Coming through that right-hander.
Go on.
He's going to show him the inside.
Go on, Key.
Is Luke going to go for a dive up the inside? Yes, he does. Bobby Dazzler sees him coming. Has to yield the position, but he's going to have the inside for the final corner, and Bobby Dazzler's going to stay put, keep his car exactly in the right place. Luke Bennett though, lovely run out of the final turn. He's going to pull to the inside now as they come down the pit straight. This is fantastic racing from these top 2. Luke Bennett with a lot more to lose, obviously. Only 10 points up the championship lead. Goes eyes up the inside, and that is P1 again for Luke. Gets a little bit onto the curb. That's not going to help him as he runs through this uphill section.
I thought I fucked it up there, Murph.
Smithy making fantastic progress. He's up into P5. Struggled in the opening laps, has managed to get to grips with the car around this track, and that was a very quick lap time last time around there from Smithy. And next up for him will be Tro. So Tro's worked his way up into P4. Constant action here in round 9 sprint race of the Robbins Racing Touring Car Championship here at Watkins Glen Short. Thank you for joining us, thank you for your comments. The console gutted he can't be there tonight. He's saying Kembo had better put last week's 3 points to good use. Staying with our leaders, so Luke Bennett leading Bobby Dazzler, 7/10 is the gap at the minute. Oh, Murphy's had a bit of a... Oh, is that Murphy's falling backwards? And he's had a little bit of a spin coming out of the second to last turn. Must have clipped the curb on the right hand side there. That can be an absolute beast, that curb. And Murphy's learned the hard way what that does to your car when you get too much onto that. He's down into last position. Lion's Foot's fallen back as well. He's onto the back of K Morse. We're just hearing Lion's Foot lost it on the chicane earlier than on lap 8. Not too long ago on the stream.
And it affected K Morse, so I do apologise.
K Morse caught up in that incident as well there. Very unfortunate. Part of racing, unfortunately, as we see Tro now having to defend here from Smithy, who's made a fantastic comeback in the second half of this sprint race. Tro, one of the boys who joined the Tier 1 League midway through the season again, has amassed 88 points since he started. Sits P12 in the championship. Smithy obviously 7th in the championship, missed a couple of rounds mid-season. He's always running at the front, or usually is. Race leaders onto the last lap, gap at the front a second. If Luke can just keep it together, keep the car going, pointing in the right direction, then he will have the race win in the sprint race here for round 9 of the RRTCC. Smithy's going to have a look up the inside of Sparrow, and he's got the move. Smithy's up into P4. Is Tro going to try and fight back as they head up the hill towards the chicane? He's going to have a lovely run here, but Smithy, I think, is going to go defensive. Yes, he is. Covers to the inside line. Tro's going to have to go around him if he wants to make this work. He doesn't look to be close enough anyway. Smithy runs him out of road, and Tro spins it out coming into the chicane. That was clever driving there from Smithy. Tro in the end couldn't hold it together coming into the chicane. So Luke Bennett comes into the last couple of turns. Couple of slowdown penalties, maybe reducing the gap a little bit. He's had to pass Bobby Dazzler a couple of times on the track. He's done an excellent job here in this sprint race. Luke Bennett takes the sprint race for the RRTCC round 9. Bobby Dazzler produced an excellent challenge to Luke and finishes in second. Kembo completes the podium. Smithy over the line in 4th after a fantastic comeback drive. Tro 246 over the line in 5th place. Uni Clark, our championship leader, with a disappointing round in 6th. It looks as though Lion's Foot just held on there for 7th ahead of Grenade Stee, who was absolutely charging at the end of that race. So our winner, Luke Bennett, and if my maths are correct, he will now be leading the championship by 26 points after that one. He picks up 36 points, 1 point for pole position, 35 for a win, and in fact no, he's leading the championship by 27 points because he got a bonus point as well for the fastest lap. So our new championship leader Luke Bennett takes the win, Bobby Dazzler second, Kembo third. The boys are just going to have a quick break before we start qualifying. We're going to have a second qualifying session for the feature race, and the feature race will be how many laps?
17 laps.
So it'll be a 17 laps feature race with a man. And we are away. Luke Bennett gets a terrible start. Smithy already up into P1. And Smithy seems to have got a perfect start. Maybe he must. Has Smithy jumped the start? Must have jumped the start. Luke holds what is technically the lead going into P1. Smithy's gonna. I don't know. Let's be interesting to see what Smithy does here, because obviously he has got a drive-through penalty.
No, it's just a 20-second penalty, not a drive-through.
So it's a 20-second penalty for Smithy for jumping the start. Bobby Dazzler looking to the inside of Smithy, possibly. Definitely in a slipstream. Got good closing speed. Luke Bennett's going to hold up. Smithy would look to the inside, but can't make the position. Massively disappointing there for Smithy. Jumped the gun. Got a little bit too excited on the accelerator. And that's the result of it. Unfortunately, it happens in racing. Uni Clark being hassled by that guitar dude in the mild 7 livery. And I just saw the Tro in the background there having a little look at Grenade Stee, but had to back out of that one. So we head through the last turn. Uni Clark, obviously our championship leader coming into this round. Had a disappointing sprint race. Luke Bennett obviously taking the championship lead off of him in the sprint race. Currently 27 points is Luke's lead. And at the rate that he's going in the lead of this feature race, that will be extended. As we see that Guitardo piling the pressure now on our man from Swindon. In the background there, K Morse and Grandad Stieg. K Morse not having the start that we usually see coming off the line, it must be said. We're very, very used to seeing that BMW absolutely blitzing everyone off the line. We didn't see that in this feature race.
Set up with Smithy's jump start.
Is Tro going to go for a move on... no, is Grandad Stieg going to go for a move on K Morse? Nope, backs out of that. Definitely looked at it, thought about it, and then in the end, thought better of it. That Guitardo gets a lovely run off the final turn. He's going to have K Morse pressuring him if he doesn't get around Uni Clark soon. As Uni Clark and that Guitardo goes side by side. We're going to go 3 wide coming here into turn 1. K Morse dives up the inside, has to back out of it in the end. Uni Clark holds the position on the inside. But he has got a train of 3 cars, very, very desperate to get that position off him. That Guitardo, K Morse and Grandad Stieg. The boys keeping it clean at the moment. Grandad Stieg alongside K Morse for P7. They're just holding on. It's as you were somehow. As we come into the chicane. And Uni Clark still holding on here from that Guitardo. K Morse runs very, very wide, and that's going to allow Grandad Stieg to pick up the pieces. So our man from Newcastle is up into P7. And it's a slowdown penalty from the race director for Smithy. That is going to allow Bobby Dazzler to move up into P2. The gap at the front between Luke and Bobby, 1.3 seconds. So Luke has had an excellent first few laps, stretching out the gap at the front of the field. Our new championship leader as of the sprint race, showing why he's in that position he is. Fastest lap of the race by Luke Bennett that last time around, 1:12.4. Capable of doing 1:11s we saw in the sprint race qualifying session. Is Smithy going to fight back here on Bobby Dazzler? Definitely has a closing speed. As probably, it looks like he's got that car sorted out for the feature race. Maybe it looks quicker in a straight line, it must be said.
Get your toes still and come past.
Smithy's going to look to the outside, but Bobby's going to cover it off.
Just change camber on Glen tyres and that's all I've
That Guitardo up the inside there of Uni Clark. He makes the move stick. Non-stop action in this feature race. That Guitardo with a good move there. Took a couple of laps there, but Uni Clark in the end not able to put up the resistance as they went into the chicane. And meanwhile we've got K Morse coming under some pressure from Grandad Stieg. In turn, Tro looking at these guys. Lion's Foot not too far behind. Murphy's been into the pits for his mandatory stop. Must have been, no, maybe no. He's just made a mistake by the looks of it. Oh no, he has been in. No, he has been in the pits. He has been in the pits.
Had a lot of damage from a crash.
So Murphy there with a little bit of damage. We're hearing over the team radio. Must have been an incident.
Smithy back P2.
Smithy's round Bobby Dazzler, but Bobby's going to try and fight back here as they come up the hill. They're going to go side by side, but it looks like Smithy's just about holding on. Bobby Dazzler's going to get a nice run, and he's going to try and slot into the slipstream of Smithy as they head up towards the chicane. You can see in the foreground there, Luke is absolutely pissed off. And it's Uni Clark going to try and fight back on that Guitardo. K Morse having to go defensive from Grandad Stieg as well. These boys all fighting for position. This is all over P5. Kembo looks like he's closing in on Bobby Dazzler and Smithy as well. Having a look at the timing screens.
I think we both had a slowdown.
Smithy, oh, he's into the wall. Got the back end out, coming out of the second to last corner. That's going to allow Bobby Dazzler to have a chance as they come down the pit straight. Smithy going defensive very early. trying to break the toe as much as he can, and apparently, according to team radio, he does have a slowdown penalty, so he's going to try and take whatever line he can through this corner to prevent Bobby from going round him. In the background, Kenbo also making gains on these guys. That guitar dude not able to shake off K Morse. K Morse is up into P6 ahead of Uniclark, and Uniclark's going to find himself open to attack now from Grandad Steve. Uniclark flying high in the championship, but not flying very high in this race. He's going to have to defend here to the inside. Grandad Steve definitely looking faster down the straight. In the end, Uniclark with enough of a wise head to hold on to the position. K Morse has gone straight on the exit. Uniclark's going to go down the inside. K Morse may have a slowdown penalty. We'll have to keep an eye on this one. Yep, he is going to have to yield to let these boys go by. So Uniclark, Grandad Steve potentially up in position. K Morse is going defensive though. Are they going to possibly go 3 wide? No, Grandad Steve up the inside here of K Morse, of Uniclark, sorry. But Uniclark closes the door. These guys definitely on the back of him. K Morse going to have to go defensive coming into the final turn. And it is 4 or 5 cars in a line here. We have got K Morse, Uniclark, Grandad Steve, Tro and Lionsfoot going at it here, and this looks like Tro trying to come up the inside there of Grandad Steve, but didn't go for the move in the end. That's going to open him up to a move from, well, is Tro going to try and move up the inside of turn 2? Grandad Steve's got a slowdown penalty, so Tro's going to pick up the pieces, as is Lionsfoot. Back to our battle here for P6. K Morse holding on from Uniclark. He made the move, but our man from Swindon not giving up yet. Meanwhile, P3. Bobby Dazzler with Kembo right up behind him. And we're just seeing Murphy there. Has just been lapped by these guys, so Murphy will have to keep an eye out for the blue flags as these mid-pack guys come through. Meanwhile, Kembo definitely closing the gap here on Bobby Dazzler for our final podium spot, but Bobby in turn definitely putting Smithy under pressure. We have got rain here at Watkins Glen, and we're just getting word that a thunderstorm is forecast for the second half of this race. This is an unbelievable turn of events here for our feature race. The rain is coming down thick and fast. What do these guys do? They're going to have to come in at the end of this lap. That guitar dude, Smithy, and Grandad Steve, all going tactically here, have decided to bring it in for the wet tyres. And it looks as though, let's see which one of these boys comes out first. Smithy's gone into the wrong pit box. He's had to reverse down the pit lane and go into the right one. Who's going to come out first out of these boys? These guys are all making an early switch, and it looks like this could be an inspired choice. They're going to gain heaps of time on this lap, because these guys that stayed out are going to struggle. Luke seems to have command of these wet conditions, even on the dry tyres. Such is the talent of this young man. He's got a 7-second lead over Bobby Dazzler, so all of these guys are going to come into the pits at the end of this lap, because this is now torrential rain. We're seeing torrential rain here at Watkins Glen for the feature race of the RRTCC. Luke Bennett is into the pits. Bobby Dazzler will also follow him into the pits. Kembo as well now. Be interesting if all these boys can actually get the car stopped and pull into the pits in time. Uniclark following these guys in. Tro and Lionsfoot's really struggling. You can see those cars all over the place, and Tro's spun it, so there's a yellow flag through the final turn. Tro has spun the car, just about gets it straight for the corner. So Smithy's going to come round now with a massive advantage, because he's done most of this race, done most of this lap with the correct tyres on, but it looks like he might not have changed tyres. By the looks of it, he might have the wrong tyres on. So Uniclark emerges from the end of the pit lane. Let's hope that his boys have changed his tyres correctly. Uniclark now, our new race leader, could definitely claw some points back in this feature race if he manages to keep position, but Luke Bennett already pulling onto the back of him. We know Luke, an absolute rainmaster, and he's already passing him as they come down this long straight towards the chicane. So Luke Bennett back in the lead. Uni Clark definitely struggling as he came out of the pits there. Maybe cold wet tyres. Let's hope that the pit crew have changed his tyres correctly. Bobby Dazzler in P3, he's 4 seconds up the road from Kembo. That guitar dude, Smithy slots in P6. Must have struggled on the outlap out of the pits after changing. We did hear that he did pull into the wrong pit box momentarily as well. Back with our race leader Luke Bennett, who is pulling away at the front. His gap over Bobby Dazzler, 5.7 seconds. Uni Clark going backwards. And it looks like he didn't change tyres. So Uni Clark's still on the slick tyres. That is absolutely gutting for our man from Swindon. The pit crew not putting him on the correct tyres. As we see Smithy hitting the wall there on the exit of the final turn. Also, Bobby Dazzler drops 1.5 seconds to our race leader Luke on that last lap. Luke absolutely stretching the gap. Truly showing his class in this one. Sorry, Sophie?
Whereabouts does 20 seconds put me after my penalty? Last?
It put you 10th. 10th.
Oh. Woohoo! Man's on a mission.
Yeah, if you get your foot down, I reckon you could come 8th.
8th?
If you get your foot down, yeah, you got 7 laps.
I'm struggling to turn the car.
Race leader Luke Bennett. It looks like he's walking on water in this one. Truly the class of the field in these wet conditions. He's going to come over the line now. Let's see what the lap time is. It's going to get slower and slower, although 1:17.8 in wet conditions ain't half bad. That is a fantastic time there from Luke Bennett. Bobby Dazzler, P2, lost a second on that lap.
1:17. Is that man on drugs?
Kembo running in P3, just a second now between himself and that guitar dude. That guitar dude definitely closing. Last time around, that guitar dude closed in over a second than our man from America. So the fans here at Watkins Glen may be very disappointed in a moment because our home man could be dropping a podium spot. Kembo definitely responded through that sector though. Definitely not going to go all that guitar dude's way. Having a look back, looks like we've got Grandad Stee here coming up on some traffic. That looks like it might be Murphy. Grandad Stee, I thought he was closing in on, looks like K Morse might be closing in on Stee actually, as we see Murphy moving out of the way there, adhering to the blue flags. K Morse is going to come up on him as well in a moment. K Morse is closing in on Stee, so this would be interesting to follow. What's K Morse doing there? He's coming down the pits. I must have hit a puddle, I assume. As we're going to follow that guitar dude, reining in our American driver for the final podium spot at the moment. Kembo doing a grand job. Not much to separate them on the last lap. We're just hearing a team radio from Smithy saying there's puddles everywhere. This is not going to be easy for these boys. We have got 5 laps to go in our feature race for the RRTCC round 9 here at Watkins Glen Short. Thank you for joining us on the YouTube channel. Thank you for your comments. If you want to get involved in Robbins Racing, go to www.robbinsracing.co.uk, get yourself involved, join our Discord, become a part of the racing that you see on here. All you have to do is go to www.robbinsracing.co.uk and click on register as a driver, put in a few details and boom. It's Kembo struggling here on the straights, then we have got a hell of a battle here for our final podium spot. Struggles on the exit there, but that Guitardo getting a little bit too much onto the curb on the exit. It's not going to be easy for that Guitardo, following in the spray of Kembo.
Fucking food.
He's in the slipstream and he's got those lights on. He is absolutely determined to get that position. But having said that though, Kembo definitely left him a little bit on the straight. I don't know if that Guitardo had a slowdown penalty there, but lost heaps of time coming up to the chicane. Our American driver from Pennsylvania doing an excellent job holding on to the podium spot at the minute. Luke Bennett must have had a mistake the last time around, because he's gone, well, Bobby Piazza went 2 seconds quicker. So Luke goes over the line and it seems like he's got his mojo back. 1:18.6 last time around for Luke Bennett. Bobby Dazzler simply can't compete a second slower that time around. So Luke, class of the field, 4 laps to go. Back with our boys in 3rd and 4th. Let's have a look and see what this looks like from that Guitardo's perspective. Well, that is the view that he has.
You can't see a lot, can you?
Not an awful lot on show for us, but we can see that car of Kembo definitely swirling around and struggling through that corner. So that Guitardo's going to have a nice run, but Kembo's absolutely pissing off down the straight. And there's nothing that Guitardo can do about it. The car's just not set up for the faster sections of this track. And you can see that Kembo's got a hell of a package down the straights. That car really is flying as soon as they come out of the corners and onto the straights. Luke's gap at the front, 7.5. 3 laps left for our man from Birmingham, esports driver, to pick up the win and extend his championship lead. I think that Kembo will be second in the championship after this one, with our man from Swindon running down in P10. Kembo's up into P3. No, sorry, he was already there. I thought that was an incident, but that Guitardo, definitely something happened, because we heard a noise on the radio there from that Guitardo, but he's staying in P4 for the time being. But he's all over him in the slipstream, and he's gonna get a beautiful run. But we know that Kembo definitely has the pace and the advantage coming down the straights. You can see he's in the slipstream, but Kembo's just pulling away, even with the slipstream. Grandad Steve closing onto the back of Smithy here for P5. Smithy's got his work cut out if he wants to stay in that position. We're just hearing on the team radio there saying, how on earth is Luke Bennett doing those lap times? This man cannot be a human being.
Fucking otter by the sound of it.
Kembo's still holding on. You can see those puddles on the inside of the final turn. I'd love to see what lines Luke Bennett is taking.
I think the white and powdery.
He's clipping the curves, and he's driving through the puddles. I just don't understand. This man can literally walk on water. Bobby Dazzler 10 seconds now behind him, lapping a second a lap slower. Looks like he's got P2 done unless these guys in... And that Guitardo's up into P3! Missed it on the stream, he's got it past him. Must have been going through turn 1. Can Kembo fight back in the last lap and a half here at Watkins Glen Short? Smithy seems to have pulled the gap here a little bit on Grandad D with a lap and a bit to make an impression, try and grab that P5. Looks like he may have cut the corner on the exit of the chicane and will probably get a slowdown penalty for that one.
Don't be silly.
No, it doesn't do that to me.
Don't be silly, you're at your Willie.
Oh, yeah.
Race leader Luke Bennett's onto the final lap.
You know, aquaplane on that puddle across the road.
Kembo still putting heaps of pressure on that guitar dude into turn 1, but that guitar dude definitely pulled away from Kembo on that last lap. He was 6/10 faster on lap 16. Barring any catastrophes, our podium is going to be Luke Bennett, Bobby Dazzler and that guitar dude. Smithy with plenty of pressure now from Steve. We're going to stick with our race leader here as he enters the last half a lap here for our feature race for the RRTCC. Round 9 here at Watkins Glen Short. Luke Bennett driven perfectly in our feature race. Hasn't put a foot wrong.
Steve.
Into the second to last corner. Walking on the water. Driving through the puddles. Not a problem for our 14-year-old esports driver from Birmingham. Out of the last turn now.
Once that puddle gets here, knackered.
Luke Bennett crosses the line to take our feature race here for the RRTCC. Round 9 feature race. Bobby Dazzler out of the final corner to hold on for second place, just lapping K Morse as he crosses the line. K Morse not interested in completing the final lap. That guitar dude comes over the line to complete our podium positions. Then Kembo, who hit the puddle as he crossed over the line there. We've got Grandad Steve. Grandad Steve's got past Smithy for P5. He's just lapping Murphy here. Is he going to get past him before the end of the lap? Is Murphy going to hold on to the position? Well, he's being lapped, but he is going to hold on. No, he's had a spin. Murphy out of shape coming through the last turn. Yellow flag through the last turn. Murphy out of shape.
Sorry, Steve.
Me, buddy.
Congratulations, Luke, says Zupa in the comments. That was a brilliant drive there.
6th place, I reckon, that.
From our esports driver from Birmingham. Lion's Foot is going to come over the line in P7. He's coming around the final corner now. Our Welsh driver from Swansea.
Could have done with a set of paddles.
Throw out of the last turn. It's going to come home in P8. Uni Clark losing so many points in this round. Disastrous event for him in P9. We've got K Morse in P10. That was the feature race for the Robbins Racing Touring Car Championship. Round 9 here at Watkins Glen.
Come on! Woohoo!
Smithy very, very excited over the team radio there with 6th place.
Well done, guys. Good race.
Good job from him.
My fastest lap, 1:12.
Some fantastic racing, some very fast lap times there from Luke Bennett, especially in the wet conditions. Thank you very much for joining us for our feature race for the RRTCC. Be sure to join us next week on Tuesday evening, 8 o'clock, same time, for the final round.
Yeah, good race.
From all of us at Robbins Racing, it's good night, peace.